is probably going to be a hella long video, so sit back and grab some popcorn. We're going on a roller coaster of a ride. Hi, I'm Loupy Gem and welcome to my Loopy Land. This is my social anxiety story.
Gemma, how you doing? You're okay. What do you think we should concentrate on?
Not sure.
You're not sure. How would that sound as a project that we could work on? That would be good. On a scale of 1 to 10, how sort of interested were you, or how confident were you about the whole thing?
Not sure really. I was kind of excited.
Yeah? Okay.
So, I was officially diagnosed with social anxiety in, I think it was 2011. I can't remember if it's 2011 or 2012. Somewhere around there. I'm pretty sure it's 2011 though. There are a few things that might have kind of caused it. I'm not going to talk about them in this video. It took almost a year to actually be diagnosed with it. I went to the doctor a gazillion times and I went to multiple doctors to try and work out what was wrong with me. It was extremely difficult as well because most of the doctors I went to told me I was fine. They could find nothing wrong with me, and it's difficult when you know that you're not fine. You know, doctors are supposed to help you and know these things, and if I'm telling them that I know that I'm not feeling well and they're telling me that I'm fine, literally no one believed me and what I was going through. It pays to be persistent though. I did not give up until I found out what was wrong with me. I was persistent, I would keep going because I knew there was something wrong with me. It's just that no one else could see it.
So here we are, week 2, Gemma. And the exciting thing that happened during the week was that you played the drums with your friends. And when we first talked, you were a bit worried about it all because you didn't know how to play the drums and they'd asked you to play the drums because their drummer had left. How did it all go?
Okay.
Yeah? What happened?
We had to record it and I was on an electronic drum kit.
Uh-huh.
I strongly knew that what I was feeling was not normal. I knew that I shouldn't be feeling this way. Eventually, I was diagnosed with social anxiety disorder, also known as SAD, which I love because it was a very sad time for me. I just feel like that name fits perfectly, and I didn't know how to fix it. My parents would often say that I was doing it on purpose, just so I could skip school. But what I was going through was literally hell. Like, who on earth would want to pretend to be ill every day? My anxiety started when I left middle school and was starting high school. High school was a lot bigger than middle school and there was lots more people. And just before I started high school, I fell out with all of my friends from middle school, which meant that I was going up to a new school with no one. And that was kind of terrifying, like, you know, going into a new place by yourself, not really knowing anyone. High school was hell for me. Every single day I would feel sick and have multiple panic attacks a day. It was kind of just like one long panic attack all throughout the day, which, if you know what panic attack is, it's horrible. Like, your heart's beating fast, you feel like you can't breathe, you're shaky, like you can barely stand, your legs go wobbly, you feel sick. It's just horrible. And I think it was a vicious cycle because I would get nervous about something and then I'd start feeling sick because I was nervous. And then because I started feeling sick, I would then feel nervous about feeling sick, and then I'd start to panic, and then when I panicked I would feel even more sick, and so it was just like this endless loop of feeling ill and panicking. For the first year of high school, my attendance was rubbish. Like, I struggled so bad, I couldn't even make it to school. And to be honest, this year of my life is what I call the worst year of my life. Because not only could I not go to school, I couldn't even leave the house, it was that bad. Like, I used to love going to my grandma's house. I couldn't even go there now because my anxiety was so bad to the point I couldn't even leave my room. The only place that I felt okay was when I was in my bedroom. This was my little safe spot, my little bubble. And I remember, because of my anxiety, I used to cry all the time. And I hated it because I don't like crying in front of people. And there was this particular point I remember where I was in my room. I was sat in the corner barricading my door with my knees up to my chest, and I was crying so hard. I think I was like screaming as well, but I was so upset because I felt like I would have to live my life feeling this way forever. And I didn't want to live if I had to feel like this every day. I also did try to run away from home a few times too. They weren't very successful though. I say try, it's more like I walked to the bottom of the road and then I was like, I don't know what to do now. I will just walk home again. Like one time I remember I locked myself in the car as well, and I said I was going to stay out there forever. And then it got dark outside and I'm scared of the dark, so I went back in. Anyways, I also used to think about suicide quite frequently, and some points I did attempt to kill myself. I don't know if to call them attempts or not, because I don't think they would. I could never fully go through with it though. There was still a part of me that was holding on, like a tiny part of me was holding on to life, and I'm so glad that it did. My anxiety made me feel like I was a monster. It felt like something had taken control over me and that I had completely lost control of myself, which is pretty terrifying actually. Because of it, it turned me into someone who I'm not. I was very it made me very frustrated and angry a lot of the time. Like, why am I feeling this way? Am I always going to feel like this? It was a very difficult time, and sometimes I did get a little bit violent because of it. So yeah, as you can see, fun times! I was in a very dark place. I felt very isolated and alone. I had no one. I also felt pressure from school, as my attendance was low, and so they kept warning me that if I had more time off that my parents would get fined and the police would get involved. And I was scared. I didn't want that to happen because I was already struggling at home, so I didn't want anything else to kind of interfere with it. At school, I didn't have many friends. Like, I had some, but then I don't know. I'd have some friends for a short time and then they'd go away and I'd be by myself again. Yeah, the majority of the time I was just by myself. I spent the majority of my lunch and breaks in my old form room, just by myself. I'd just sit in there, eat my lunch, listen to music or something. Sometimes teachers would come in and talk to me, that was quite nice. Eventually, the doctors referred me to CBT. For those of you that don't know what that is, it stands for Cognitive Behaviour Therapy. It took almost a year before I could see anyone, I think. I'm pretty sure it was a year. It took ages for me to be able to actually see someone. And for me, I didn't want to wait that long to start feeling better. Instead of waiting, I just kind of tried to help myself by like Googling it, you know, joining support groups on Facebook, stuff like that. And yeah. The school also offered me a thing called noise solution, and this was a thing they offered to students that were struggling and had like mental health problems, and it was to try and help build up their confidence, and it was doing this through music.
What else have we done today?
Making songs on the computer.
Let's just play what we've done today. So we've made a lovely trance track that you might even be able to hear over the sound of the guitarist next door. Let's look at that. And we've built all this today. We'll just skip through it a little bit. There we go. Some drums that you put in. Here we go. Piano part comes in. Lovely.
After high school, I went to sixth form. Sixth form was the best time of my life. It was great. I loved it. It was the first time I was actually getting better. The contrast between me at the start of year 9 to the start of sixth form was incredible. I had gotten so much better. And I was actually starting to feel a lot like myself again, which I'd kind of forgotten what myself felt like. That sounds very weird. And I actually had friends for once. I had 2 friend groups and they were awesome. I loved them all so much. At sixth form, I kept challenging myself to do things. So that brings us to where we are today, and this lovely creature you see right here. I have never been better. I wake up without feeling constantly sick and very rarely get panic attacks. I keep pushing myself and challenging myself, and it's working. I'm getting better. My friend actually made a comment which I found quite funny, and she was saying that she thinks that I've reached my peak confidence, and I was like, girl, no, the real me is not free yet. I know I still have so much more potential in me. Like, the real me is still not fully out there. I'm still working on it. I will get there one day, and everyone will be able to see the real me for once. One thing that I find quite funny is the fact that people who knew me at main school would probably describe me as like quiet, shy, doesn't really talk much. This is what I like to call the fake me. This description is literally the complete opposite of who I feel I am as a person. The real me, only a few people know about, which is like really close friends and family. And the real me is loud, loves to talk to people, and cannot shut up. Like, literally, people who don't know me will be very surprised by the real me. I am actually a very talkative person. Like, at home, I cannot shut up. Like, Mum gets annoyed by how much I talk sometimes. Like, it's such a difference. I also think it's really funny when those who don't know me hear me shout, because, like, as I said, I'm quite a loud person. At home, I shout, like, all the time. So it's quite funny to see people's reactions to that. So that was a brief overview of my anxiety. However, I have some exciting news. I am going to be creating a YouTube series all to do with anxiety. If you're interested in that, hit that subscribe button. There will be more videos coming very soon. Here's a little hint about the series. Tea will be spilled. So it's going to be like stories, it's going to be things that have helped me. I kind of want to just create a little community where people can share what's helped them in the comments and just be like a support system. Oh yeah, that's a point. I forgot to include that. So my anxiety made it very difficult for me, and I would just spend most of my time in my room. And so I turned to YouTube. I watched a lot of YouTubers and they helped me a lot. But YouTube was there for me when no one else was. And so I kind of want to give back. I want to be that person that someone can go to when they're having a bad day or need some help with something. So this has been a brief overview of my anxiety. Thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Oh, you're still here? I'll let you in on a little secret. My Loopy Land is actually my mind. Don't tell anyone. That's really creepy. If there was charity event days where like I am actually a very tall, I'm actually a very sixth form. Is that how do you say it? Sixth form or sixth form? Mum gets annoyed by how Mum gets annoyed by